attend the NHIAA New Hampshire Leadership Conference.
So the motion's been made with the amendment to add the, seconded by Scott. So, all in favor, we're gonna have to do that as an amendment then.
Right.
Because we originally did it, so.
That's fine.
So, all those in favor of the amendment to it, which is adding other dates, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Now we'll vote on the motion to accept the field trip with the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The field trip is accepted.
Great, thank you. I wanted to let the board know that the administrators have met and are putting together a photography RFP. So what we're trying to accomplish, and I had done this in my last district as well, we're trying to get the best price we can for families, and at the same time get the best kickbacks we can for the schools. So by doing an RFP bid, usually you will accomplish that process. So you not only get the best prices, but you can also get the best quality. So we'll be publishing that RFP and then specifically sending it out to the big photography studios. But I just wanted to let the board know that we're taking that action, and we'll kind of let you know what comes in terms of what they supply to us and whatnot. So we were very successful the last time I did this, so my fingers are crossed with this one.
So, I have a question.
Mhm.
You're gonna be posting, I mean, how, what if you have, you're giving it all to the large ones? What if it's some small group might work out just as well? How are they gonna find out?
Anybody, we put it in the newspaper.
Which one?
Usually the Laconia Sun is the cheapest one.
Okay.
And then we will probably send it out to the ones we've used in the past.
And approximately when that would take place, do you think?
We will be sending it out probably within the next couple of weeks. We just talked about it this morning.
Okay.
And then usually you give them like a month, maybe 3 weeks to put something together. Then the administrators will get together and take a look and evaluate it.
Okay.
Select which one we think is the best one.
Okay, thank you.
And then we'll let the board know how we did. Typically, that's what you do. All right, so the substitute pay / fingerprinting, we started to talk about this last month in relation to the shortage of substitute teachers, which is not just a Franklin issue, it's just an issue everywhere, by the way. So I did have Robin, call around and ask around. And in your packet, you can see the data. You know, pay-wise, we're right about there. We're a little bit less than everybody else. But the interesting thing is that the other districts were all fingerprinting and paying for the fingerprinting. I've thought about this a lot since I've seen the data that she collected. You know, we don't pay for fingerprinting for all of our employees. So even though the other districts are doing this, I don't recommend that we take this on, this cost on. I just don't see why we would do it for substitutes and not do it for all of our full-time, regular year employees. I don't think it's the reason why we don't have substitutes. I really don't. I think the reason we don't have substitutes is because we just have a shortage of workers. And it's not just here. You heard the police chief talk about the shortage of police officers. And I think, honestly, it's gonna open a can of worms if we start to pay for substitute teachers' fingerprinting, but we're not paying for all of our employees' fingerprinting. I have a hard time thinking that we would do that, I guess.
Why don't we pay for our employees? Because we're the ones that are requiring it.
'Cause we just never have that. I don't know. That was
What's the
probably
addi-
a cost that we never wanted to incur.
What's the additional cost for
$48 for
48 something,
48, 45.
times how many? Times how many?
Any new employee.
How often do they get fingerprinted? Our regular employees?
Well, it's once in your history right now, but then some places are rethinking that,
Right.
Okay.
making them
Every
redo
3
it.
years or every 5 years.
Yeah, I have to submit mine every 2 years, so.
But also DOE is starting to look at certifications and criminal record checks as well.
And doing it themselves,
And
right? I
doing
saw
it
that,
part
yeah.
of, as the certification process.
But do you do criminal check?
Yes.
Yeah, by
Oh,
law.
yeah, you
you
have
have
to.
By law you do?
You have to.
Okay, all right, that's good, that's
Oh,
what I thought, but.
You definitely have to do that. Let me be clear. You definitely have to do it. It's just a matter of who's gonna pay for it.
So I think that
the shortage of worker situation is not gonna go away. It's a challenge that's going to exist, and it's gonna force us to be creative in these ways to overcome that obstacle. So it may be something that we have no other choice but to consider to attract.
For substitutes, I mean, you could always, have them pay for it, but they have to substitute so many times.
Yeah, right.
And
yeah.
then reimburse them.
Yeah,
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 I
yep.
agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I mean, you can set any limit that you want if that's the route that everybody wants, to, you know, will eventually go, but, you know, that's just an idea.
Well, until it's required every year, why do we opt to pay for every new employee and including substitutes until the DOE asks for it every year?
Then when we take that away, there's gonna be a big problem.
Well, there always is, you know.
No,
I like,
but I mean,
I like free stuff.
Well, the discussion
There's
has.
no such thing as free.
the discussion is getting more substitutes, and how do we do that?
Yeah.
Which is a different scenario from criminal record checks.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'd rather discuss, you know, a little bit of a bump in the daily rate.
Yeah, me too.
I'd rather see us go that direction if the discussion is about attracting new people.
Well, in that case, you gotta match or exceed Winnisquam.
Yeah, I mean, I would recommend going up $10 per day.
Going up to 80.
Yep.
Mm.
I think that's a much more viable option in terms of recruiting people. That would entice me more than just paying for the fingerprinting,
Yeah.
honestly.
What is the minimum requirement to be a sub?
High school diploma.
Do you, is it one fee, or is it, gradual? So if you have just a high school diploma, you get X amount of dollars.
No, just one
If
fee.
you get a degree, you've got this. If you get teaching, you get more.
One
Just
fee.
One fee.
Simple.
Yep. Oh, God, yeah. Keep it
We'll
simple.
take anyone we can find at this point, really. I mean, it's, I mean, Ken was in a class, covering a class the other day, cause he had no substitute.
Well, and Market Basket's paying more than this for 8 hours and no headaches
Yeah.
and no fingerprint.
All right, I'm gonna make a motion to increase the daily rate of our substitutes teachers to $80 a day.
Second.
Alright, so the motion's been made,
Yeah. I don't know what that long.
Jeff, to increase the substitute pay by $10, seconded by Paul. Do I have discussion?
Is that gonna be effective immediately or tomorrow?
I say yeah.
Okay.
If you say yes, I say yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's like halfway through a pay period, that's all. Doesn't matter.
Don't matter.
No,
No,
the
'cause
pay
it's
period
daily
ends
rate.
Friday,
I mean,
Yes, it is, yeah.
it's
so you can make it effective Monday.
Yeah, okay.
Jefferson, you okay with this? I know it's a tough,
Well, it's-
you have a lot of unknowns there, so.
Yeah, it's definitely reasonable to do that.
Okay.
Financially, we can work with it. Whether we actually even see anybody,
Okay.
is the big question mark anyways.
But looking at your numbers, you're able to work with this,
Yep.
and you'll be okay with it? Okay.
And so anybody that's currently substituting would get the bump in the rate
On Monday.
Starting Monday.
Starting Monday.
starting Monday. I just wanna make
Yeah.
sure that's.
all right,
Is
so
it-
we already have a second, right? Or
Yeah.
We did.
I'm gonna I'll amend the motion to include starting Monday.
So-
I'll second that.
So it's Monday the 27th. So January 27th then? Okay, so motion's been amended to increase it effective January 27th by Jeff. Scott, you second the motion?
Yep.
Okay. Is there any discussion on the amendment? Discussion on the amendment? Seeing no discussion, all in favor of the amendment as mentioned, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Okay, that is the amendment. So all in favor of the original motion as amended. The original motion was to increase substitute rate by $10. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. The rate is increased increased by $10, and that brings up to 80, you said, Dan?
Up to 80, yeah. And I will publicize that as well.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question. Does the school, do you reach out to the teachers that have retired to,
We reach out to everybody we can think of.
okay,
We
I
really-
figured as
we
much,
really
but I
do.
thought I'd ask.
No, we actually had, one of our subs was a retired Franklin teacher for a while,
Mhm.
but he decided to stop doing it and stuff, so.
Okay.
So yeah, we do, we look everywhere that we can. I'm gonna actually, I just wrote a note to myself, I'm gonna advertise this, you know, for $80 for substitutes, to see if we can get any,
Right?
bites for that, yeah. We'll put it on Indeed, we'll put it in the paper, we'll try all the different things that we usually, we'll put it on the website with increased pay and all that, so.
Do you do, ed jobs too?
We do ed jobs, yeah, we do all that stuff.
Specialist?
It might be, but it might be enough to sway some people to come to us that are going other places, so. All right, and then the last thing on my list is, the school board meeting with the city council to talk about issues that are occurring and to, have some conversation. I know Tim wanted to talk to the board about this, so.
As we start into a new year, there's a few new members of our school board, there are some new members on city council, okay? Tony and I have spoken about, we need to unite the two boards, okay? The mayor and I have spoken on this. We tried to set up a time for him and I to have breakfast, but unfortunately due to scheduling conflicts, we were unable to do this, okay? But I have stayed in contact, with the mayor, as recently as a week ago? We reached out? A week ago, okay? What brought this to a big head is I sat on a Saturday morning at my house, reading the minutes from the December 9th lean meeting put on by the city council. And there was some remarks that were made on there by city council members that were very disturbing to me. And I felt it was unnecessary for the school board to be attacked at a meeting without school board representation there. Okay? So I felt it was time that the 18 people sit down in a room, no administrations other than the superintendent, the mayor, and Judy, the city manager, we sit in a room and it's time we hash out the issues here, okay? Because we're not going to move forward and be able to work among us if we can't do this, okay? Now, this has occurred at city council meetings where, a few times where Dan and I have been attacked at city council meetings, or things that got a little heated at city council meetings. Understand, and for you three city council members that are in here, it's my decision on whether the superintendent meets with you. Strictly mine, nobody else's. This was taken on by a former chairman of the board, okay, who elected to have the superintendent meet. And we're gonna kind of get this straightened out. If we can't, we're gonna have some, it's gonna be hard to meet with one another. So I figured, okay, well, how do we go about it if we can't do this? If we can't work with one another, what do we do? Because I still need the superintendent to meet with the city and then discuss things. So I reached out and I spoke to a couple of other superintendents, okay? And they're like, what do you mean your superintendent meets with your city council? I meet with our city manager or town administrator, that's it. I'm like, wow, okay. I didn't realize this. Okay, one of them, right over Laconia, when I met with this superintendent of Laconia School District, okay? I want to go down this road because we've had a good working relationship with this, with the superintendent, meeting with the city council and kind of giving them updates on what's going on and budget-wise and things that are happening, okay? But we need to start working together. I'm not gonna sit there and let my superintendent be attacked at city council meetings. That's coming to an end. It's not gonna happen anymore. We'll report out to what's going on at the schools. And if the city council has questions dealing with other stuff, that's a board issue, it'll be brought to the board. Okay, it'll be brought to myself as a chair, and then I will remedy it out to the committees that we set forth. It's no different than what the city does. That's why the city has committees. They report out on their issues. And then they report it out to the city council. Well, it's gonna come to me, I'll report it out to the respected chairs of the committee, and then we'll bring it back to the board. Okay? And hopefully, once we set up this meeting with the 18 of us, we can work out this problem. We can get on the same page here and work together. The bickering and the BS needs to stop. If you got questions for us, bring them to the meetings here. Don't wait until a December 9th meeting and start slamming us at the meetings. That's gotta stop. Find me a time when we slam city council at a school board meeting. We don't. Until now. Because I'm gonna tell you, this is how it's gonna be. Either we work together or we'll meet once a year at budget season. And I hate to go that route. But we need to come to a conclusion here, okay? We made a decision. We're not gonna do consolidation. It's off the table. Time to move on. The board voted, it's done. Move on. So I will be reaching out to the mayor and setting this up, okay? And hopefully in the very, very near future, we'll have this set up and we will discuss this as two boards. And there's no reason why we can't come to a conclusion or come to some kind of grounds here that we can work together. We need to work together. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not the bickering, the arguing, what are our scores? We know what the scores. We know what our scores are. We're not blinded to what our scores are. And we're working to get them. But scores don't say everything. Trust me, I meet with our administrators. The scores don't say everything. You can't get some of the stuff that these students do off scores. And our administrators will talk about that during budget season. Okay? But from now on, the superintendent will be just giving out what is going on in the schools, period. That is the report that's going to city council, unless the school board tells me differently. And if that's the case, then we better be making up some new policies, because there's no policies and there's nothing in the charter that says our superintendent has to report out to anybody.
Now, is this report gonna be written only?
Usually Dan has it written out on what he's gonna report out. If this board so desires and wants to know what he's reporting out, then by all means, the board has every right to say, Dan, send us the stuff that he said they're gonna tell the city council.
No, but I'm saying, is Dan, the report, is that report gonna be written, given to the council? Therefore, Dan is not attending the council.
No, I'm gonna let Dan continue, cause Dan wants to
Okay.
continue talking to the council.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
I don't wanna take that away from you.
No, I'm
okay?
just asking.
We're all adults here.
Yeah, just
okay?
clarification,
Let's
that's
work
all.
together, but if he's going to be attacked while he's standing up there, it's not gonna happen. Make it clear for everybody,
should know.
the superintendent works for the school board, period, not for the city of Franklin, not for the Franklin City Council. He works for the school board in the Franklin School District. The charter clearly states it. So, I'm going to allow Dan, because Dan and I have had this conversation. We haven't seen eye to eye on it, some of this, with this, but that happens, okay? But I'm willing to compromise with it. Because I have gotten a lot of positive things from city council members who say, it's nice for the superintendent to get up there and let us know what's going on. This has progressed a lot ways, blah, 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 okay? It's not my job to stand up there, okay, to tell the city council what's going on as school board chair. City council wants to know what we're doing, come here. I see 3 of you here tonight, it's great, because I know I see Joe and I know I see George here every time, and I have no doubt in my mind about April Bunker being here at all. Okay, April's already reached out to me, she's the head of liaison, Jeff is the head of liaison, so Jeff will be working, we're gonna keep that committee, we wanna keep things together, but we need to work together, and people need to realize who's in, what our grounds and what our responsibilities are, and we're all gonna be able to have the opportunity, good, bad, or indifferent, to say what we wanna say at this meeting, okay? No administrators, no department heads, gonna be 18, and then your superintendent and the city manager. That's gonna be it. Okay, and we're gonna be able to speak freely. So, I will be reaching out to the mayor. Like I said, I spoke to him recently on another issue that he brought forward with us, but I'll be reaching back out to him and setting this up, because I think it's time that we get these things behind us and start working. Okay, because that's one of the big things I hear within the community. If we can't work together, we have some issues here. And we need to get our differences set aside. Many of you board members have reached out to me and talked to me about this, and we need to get it done. But for now, I will, as the chair, I will allow Dan to continue. Dan wants to continue reporting out to city council. But if it starts to become an attack mode again, I will put a stop to it, and I will not allow it to happen anymore, and then the reports will stop. So, I'm just putting it out there now so everybody's aware of it. Does everybody understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, if you can't take the heat, stay home.
Can I make a suggestion?
There you go, Paul. Yes, you may more than welcome making a suggestion. I'll take any suggestion.
Well, since there seems to be a little animosity between both boards, would it be wise to maybe have a mediator or a facilitator?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
No.
That way it won't get, hopefully it won't be getting into a shouting thing, you know, you have someone to say, okay, that's out of line, or whatever, however they work it, but, yeah, I don't know, I don't know,
Well, the Fortune 500 company meetings I've attended, as Cecile said, they have a facilitator to cut the bullshit.
I don't know,
Let me discuss it with the mayor.
okay,
Okay?
yeah, sure.
If the
Yeah,
mayor,
yeah,
let me
okay.
see what the mayor's feel. My feeling is that we're all adults here. We should.
Yeah, but you
And
know
I mean,
how adults are.
if you say something that's gonna hurt someone's feelings, well,
Yeah, but
sorry about that, but
that doesn't get
it's time that
It's not
it's time that some
constructive.
of the other stuff, the stuff that you read out there. But let me discuss it with the mayor. I'm gonna reach out to the mayor in the next couple of days. I'm kind of tied up until the end of the week, but I'll be reaching out to the mayor over the next couple of days. See what the mayor thinks about possibly getting an outside person. All right?
Move on. It's getting
Yeah.
late.
Oh, okay, oh, okay,
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
all right.
There is no curriculum report from Jules. Jules is out tonight. She's at Plymouth State, so she won't be here with us tonight. Special education report, we got Rebecca here, so
Yes.
Rebecca, if you just want to touch on a couple of things.
Sure. I mean, you've seen the report, so I'll kind of hit some highlights. Our special ed numbers went up 6 since we met last, but we did have 5 kiddos move into districts with IEPs, 2 with significant paraprofessional needs. We currently have 7 kiddos in the evaluation process. The 2 be deemed either eligible or ineligible right now, and then we have 6 referrals scheduled, which is a lot. So consent to evaluate, we have 1 active one right now, but again, we have those 6 referrals pending that we have scheduled and we'll be meeting on. Dan, Jewel, and myself met with the DOE and we went over our results of the compliance monitoring, and they broke down what the action steps will look like in the process for that. Very, very doable. I'm actually not at all nervous about it, which frightens myself even a little, but first stage would be myself doing training or having the DOE come in, but we've already had the DOE come in to do all the training, so what we could do are just follow up with some work sessions. Have them come in and look over people's goals or written prior notices that they bring to the table and discuss, which would be very productive. So that's something we'll look at. Medicaid update, Christine Lund is coming in next week. She's our MSB rep. The highlight of that meeting will be indicating where on the MSB site, the site that we bill on, what we can do to unlock billing for kids that we have our signed order forms for. Once that's unlocked, we can reach out to the staff members billing for the particular student that we have the ORF for, and then the person actually consenting to the bill, the speech pathologist or OT who goes in and actually finalizes the bill so it gets sent off for payment. So I believe some of them we actually do have consent for in the system right now, but when Christine comes in, we'll just hammer away at that. So we will start Jefferson billing. And like I said, 95% of the ORFs we've sent out, we've received back. I would say that's a very accurate estimate. Staff trainings, I currently have 2 folks, case managers from each building doing a specific learning disabilities training that I mentioned last time. Exciting news is that they can actually apply for certification through the DOE by completing this course, so we'll have 2 staff members in each building certified as specific learning disabilities through the DOE. So they actually worked with the DOE when they created this course, so that would be an attainable thing for folks, which is really exciting, because that wasn't something I was aware of when I signed folks up. We did use grant funds for that. Candidly, we use grant funds for a lot of our trainings. Actually, 99% of them. And then the other, Orton Gillingham, slowly we've made sure that we have all of our case managers at PSS Orton Gillingham trained, again, through grant funds, and 2 currently at FMS. So FMS, the need is there, but it's definitely elementary level. You really want that Orton Gillingham training. And then I do do trainings for support staff on their early release days. So I had a training that started December 20th, and that will reconvene on March 20th with the same lady who did a summer institute training for us that was very well received. So very practical strategies for reading kids and intervening in ways that are proactive. So having them do a certain exercise, even sitting down in a chair and grabbing underneath, or something, little simple things that staff can do when kids are starting to escalate. So that's it.
Any questions for Rebecca?
No, but I'm gonna have to leave. I'm getting sick.
Oh, are you?
Uh-oh.
Okay.
I have to sick, so. Oh.
Yeah, please do.
Any other
I just
questions?
got over something.
Any
Yeah,
questions?
I just got over something, please do let.
Yeah. All right, so,
Evacuation.
Yeah, right?
talk to you later, Chris.
I
Yeah.
have a question. On the 6-hour workshop, the specific learning disabilities, is that for support staff or is that for teachers?
No, that is for special ed case managers.
Okay,
So it's actually 6 days, 6 hours a day. So it's broken up over, 2 a month, or, so it's spread out over 3 months.
so this is an additional endorsement to their certification?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay.
And they'll do it through the ALT certification, but this criteria meets the standard.
Okay.
Any other questions for Rebecca? Thank you, Rebecca. All right, we'll move on to the Postman School Principal's report. Sue?
Good evening, everyone. Don't fall asleep on me now. I'm just gonna go over things quickly, other than one thing that I really need you to take action on this evening. As you can see, our numbers are increasing. We came back from December break and we had 8 new students waiting at our door. What I want you to take note of, because it's sort of making me hyperventilate a little bit, is our projected numbers for kindergarten. So, since I was hired, I have kept data on our incoming kindergarten class, and you'll see in parentheses, in February of 19, at this time, we had 32 students that we were aware of that were going to attend kindergarten in September. In February of 18, we had 36 students that we knew of. That was the year that we had 100 kids when we opened school. Please take note, as of today, I believe 8 more kids, it gets us to 72. I have 72 kids as of today. Now, the question was asked, are we doing a better job of advertising? I can't say that we are. We did the same thing we did last year. Probably didn't do the same thing the first year because I didn't know to do it. But we posted them, and you'll see where the postings were placed. Within the first 3 days, we had 7 phone calls, and today we received our 16th phone call. So it's just, hi, they said if you build it, they will come. I said that to my staff today, and so I'm anticipating opening with at least 100 kindergartners, so just an FYI for the board. And if you ask me where I'm gonna put them, I'm gonna say on the roof, but we'll talk about that later. What I really need from you tonight, and I hope that you've had an opportunity to take a look at my parent teacher handbook. I did, as Deb asked, and I highlighted all of the changes in it. And last time we were together, I actually sent you an electronic version of it because we were having such a hard time getting this to the table. So if you have questions, I'd love to answer the questions about my handbook. I have made some significant changes in it with regard to making sure that I identify the process we use in an early childhood setting for children who have a difficult time behaving. And the reason I've done that is because in the 3 years that I have been here, I see a significant change in student behavior at a K through 3 school. To give you an example, today I did the data for the past month. Remembering that we have 287 children if we don't count preschool. I had 28 cases of defiance. I had 23 cases of hands-on. I had 22 cases of aggression, 17 disruption. That's my top, those are my top 4 categories. Those were caused by 10% of my population. It's a very small packet of kids, but it's pretty significant and it's daily. So I thought it was important this year to really articulate what our process is, because our desire is not to send our children home, but if they're interfering with our ability to teach our children's ability to learn in the classroom, that is something that we sometimes choose to do after numerous attempts to re-engage a child. So if you have questions about the handbook, I'll start talking. And please feel free to ask away. Cecile.
On page 8,
Yeah?
you have some websites or whatever, they're not email probably. No, I guess it is websites. Now, to me, they look the same.
So they're board policy. So essentially what I've done is I've referenced the board policy through those links.
But they look identical.
Well, believe it or not, we have 2 policies that are under J that,
All right.
that fall in the same
But I
category.
would like to suggest that you don't underline them because you can't see the underline between the board and the policies.
Okay.
Maybe
Okay.
just highlight it or what have you.
Okay.
And then under the electronics and cell phones,
Yep.
maybe a little caveat about saying if a student needs to contact a parent, instruct the child to go to the office or something like that. I don't, of course, kids all have cell phones, but I don't know if that would help or no.
So we have and I'd love to invite you over, Cecile, Paul, the same thing. I have pretty open door, but we're an early childhood school, so we treat our children like little ones, and they know. So they'll come up to Miss Pam, who is the receptionist, and say, I need to talk to my mom because, and Pam will pick up the phone and call.
Oh, yeah, but I'm
So-
just wondering if it should be.
Sure, I
in
can
here.
reference it, sure,
Okay.
sure,
Other than that, I thought it was great.
thank you.
Are there any other questions for Sue about this? We just need to make a motion to accept the student handbook.
I'll make a motion to accept the Paul Smith Elementary School 1920 handbook as presented.
Deb's made the policy to accept the 1920 Auckland School student handbook as
I'll second. Oh, whoever.
the policy.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Student
that-
handbook, you know what I'm saying?
But the handbook says
Okay.
2019, 2020, should it be the other way?
Well,
around?
that's because we've spent the past couple of months, it is
Right.
this year's.
Okay, so it'll be 20.
And it will probably continue next year as the same.
Oh, so you don't wanna change the.
No, I'll leave it as is.
Okay.
So it's gonna have to be the 19.
Okay, cause that's.
Yeah, because it's this year and I want to make sure I can post
She'll
it on our
change the dates
website.
on this. Okay, so
It'll come back.
It'll come back, if I change anything, if not, It'll just be
I
posted.
just noticed on your cover sheet, it says board approved 8/12/2018.
I know, I have to take that out
Okay.
because that was the last time it was approved.
approved,
Yeah.
I see, okay.
So the motion been made, second, any further discussion? See no further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstentions, the ayes have it, it's approved, so.
Thank you. So I want to thank everybody for doing Polar Express. I hope you had a blast, because it might be the last time. I don't know, they're talking about doing something different next year, and I just stand back and say thank you for all the help, because they do a nice job. We have Tiger coming, as you can see, it says January 16th, but that was a snow day, so they're coming February 21st. And we always enjoy having Plymouth State College come to our school. This one is about kindness. Kindness counts. I'd like to compliment our third grade team, and I don't know if Mel will have anything to say because I always pick on her, but we did have our training with Donna Doobie from the Department of Ed about our New Hampshire SAS. Teachers had an opportunity to learn about the practice tests and really drill down, which you guys are going to get to do soon. We'll all walk home with headaches. But Mel, do you want to say anything about the training?
Yeah, sure. She came and I have been set up as a test proctor for the last 3 years for the New Hampshire SAS test, so I was pretty familiar with it. No, I'm not good enough. That's
All right.
what happens.
They'll hear you, they don't need to see you.
But all of the other teachers hadn't been in there to see the back office and be able to see what we saw, and our Title I teachers had never seen it, and they even commented on how intense the released items and things like that from the test are. I can't wait for you guys to take it. It's going to be awesome. It's a learning, it's an eye-opener for sure. We are going to move forward as a third grade team, utilizing some of the practice tests and things like that to allow the kids to see the format more often. I'm really optimistic that this bunch of kids will prove to be better test takers because they've had more experiences on the Chromebooks since we had the Chromebooks all year. But we'll see. So I can't wait. Seriously, to be a fly on the wall on the 13th.
So I know you've been hearing me talk about Fontes and Pinnell. We have all of our stuff, and teachers are starting to break open the boxes and get their feet wet with Fontes and Pinnell. So thank you very much for that. 3 of us are being trained here at Paul Smith, and 2 at the middle school. We are going to be trained as literacy coaches, and it's a graduate course, so we will be going to school from January 24th to April 14th, and hopefully that will also help build our ability to support our kids in literacy. The rest of it you can read, other than I will put a caveat, our mid-year assessments, our Title I teachers will be coming in February to report out to the board as to how our assessments look and compare them with our fall assessment. So another data point. That's it.
Okay.
I'll stop talking.
Wow, a lot has changed in 18 months.
A lot of change.
Any
Lot of
questions,
change.
any questions for Sue? Alright. Okay, we'll move on to Ken for a middle school report.
Thank you. I'm still trying to make sure that I give some information about my population trends. I've had to go to every other month instead of every month. I didn't want to take out the September numbers, but as you can see, numbers continue to increase as they do in Susan's school and probably at the high school also. This information will change next month because I'll have fewer 2 students per classroom in the prep school. So stay tuned. I have a lot to report as always. The information we talked about, the YouTube channel, that is the URL of our broadcast that's going on right now. If you watch it tonight, you'll find that I had to stop it and restart it. It's a long time for the streaming to run, but it's running right now. So that's pretty exciting. We also worked with Donna Doobie. This would be our second day of working with the Department of Ed on training for SAS testing. We had a full day with one of their trainers earlier this year, one of our in-service days, and since we don't have full in-service days, our staff made a commitment to use their prep time for an entire day to spend time with her individually. So each of the 4 teams spent a session with her. The Title I team did, and so did our special educators. So by the time the day was over, each of the different constituencies had the chance to ask exactly the kinds of questions that they needed in order for them to serve their population. And at the end of the day, we made a commitment to do the interim test school-wide so that we'll be able to look at it. It's essentially, the interim test is just like the actual test we performed in the spring. So we'll be able to take a look at test scores. But we're doing interim, which is the big test, and modular test, which is on small skills, and looking at the results of those at all of our grade levels. The UDL time, Universal Design for Learning team, continues to be working together. We had a consultant come to our school for what they call rounds, and the rounds are like what you see on doctor shows. Essentially, the idea is the way you see interns walk from patient to patient, discussing patient needs. The idea is for us to develop this ability for our teachers to go from classroom to classroom, to look at instruction as it goes on, and to come up with ideas in order for us to improve instruction. It's not evaluative. The idea is to develop this coaching model so that we can look at our own instruction and find ways to work together to see if we can improve it through their facilitation. I have to, Toby just stepped out. Big, huge kudos for Toby. He's been working with the fire department on compliance requirements for our facility, as he's been doing with all the other schools. That's part of it, but also because the Department of Ed has our compliance to take a look at, he's been working with the fire department also as our health inspection. So he's been working on both of those, and this is not the kind of health inspection that looks at your kitchen. This is the whole buildings, looking at everything that has to do with it. So I have to give him huge kudos to do it, and also the people that work with him are really impressed with how well he knows our facilities and how well they're already running, not to mention that the recommendations that they have and his compliance. So I talked not only about the state one, about the city one, but the Department of Ed's visit that they had on December 13th and what we're doing to comply with that. A couple of very interesting emails have come across my desk in the last few weeks, and I jumped on a few different things that have to do with some challenges for our school. One of which is next week will be the Great Kindness Challenge. All of these things are free, amazingly enough, but there's pages and pages and pages of work, of documents that we can have. We'll be doing some of the work in our homerooms, but throughout the school, and we'll be joining a worldwide challenge. Millions of students in tens of thousands of schools in over 100 countries are participating in the Kindness Challenge, and we're participating in it. So we're looking forward to see how that goes next week. Heavenly Hats collects and distributes hats, and we thought it was kind of a neat thing. They do it for people that lose their hair. So we're going to be having a hat parade and be raising money for people to get new hats who need hats because they have, for some reason or another, don't have hair.
Thank you.
Thank you, we'll send you a hat. I may be heading that direction myself. But the staff was very touched with this opportunity to do so, and it's another way for us, our kids, to understand how to understand other people's needs. And then lastly, the American Red Cross sent me an email that said, hey, you want to hold a blood drive and have your kids learn about what the benefits are of giving blood? Our kids can't give blood, they're too young, but they actually have a whole curriculum for it. So our guidance teachers who have part of our Allied Arts curriculum are going to work together to push out this curriculum to our kids. And we organized a blood drive. So we're going to be having a blood drive here at school on May 19th. It'll be in the afternoon, so we won't have to worry about people coming in while school is in session. It'll be after school. But we're pretty excited. It's not just us. We're going to be advertising it just like all blood drives are throughout the state. And we're looking forward to having that. So those three events are things that we're looking forward to having going on at the school. I included a couple of interesting things which talks about the Universal Design for Learning and some of the things that they look at with our instruction. And this is the curriculum or the launch for what it is that we got from the Red Cross on how we hold the blood drive. And that is my report.
Thank Thank you for the opportunity. Any questions for Ken? Will be Mr. Kudos from Ken, so.
Well, thank you, Ken.
I see Kathy's filling him in, so we're
He's
good.
yeah, he's a shy guy.
I know. All right.
He saw it coming.
So Jay will give us a quick rundown of how our discipline's doing.
Yeah, quick rundown. First, I would actually like to reach out with a couple kudos as well to Mr. Darsey and the administrative team we have at the middle school, including Mr. Cook in the in-school suspension room. Many of you see I was absent a little bit last month. My father went through some health scare that I had to help him through. So it was like we didn't skip a beat having that team there. They stepped up. Even without me around, everything just kept moving. It was really nice to not have to come back to piles of discipline and paperwork. So on that note, last month, saying basic things, we have about 47 major events that happened throughout the month. 9 of those are still horseplay. Horseplay, kids jumping on each other in the hallway, goofing around, still trying to get a handle on that. The second, number 2 offense this last go around has been physical contact. So we're maybe a little more aggressive than just horseplay, but it's not fighting, it's kind of somewhere in the middle. Number 3 is still holding strong with electronic violations. Now that we are utilizing GoGuardian and other methods, we are catching them even faster. So we had 5 incidents of that. Our 4th, unfortunately, this is new to this year for us, or at least to this school year. Our 4th largest events this month were vaping. We finally got caught up on the trend of vaping again. It was nice to have the hiatus without any events since last year, but now we have them all at once. And then for rounding it out, we had 3 incidents of kids being out of area. So overall, the events are doing all right. Our in-school suspension, we continue to try to utilize that more than sending kids out of the school because we find it's more important to keep them here than send them home so they can hang out on the couch. We had 30 events that resulted in in-school suspension, resulting in about 40 days of in-school. Some of those are when students are having a hard time maintaining our expectations in in-school suspension. They get an extra day to learn how to do it better. That's why it adds up faster. Our out-of-school suspension is down to 16 days total this last go around. In November, I asked you guys to adapt one of the policies you had on school dances, and we went from basically saying that kids had to be good the week of a dance to holding them accountable the entire time. So between dances, they're not allowed to have any out-of-school suspensions or 2 in-school suspensions. At this upcoming dance, there are 21 students who are now ineligible to attend the dance because of this new change. 13 of those because of having 2 or more ISS, and 8 of those because of students receiving OSS. So, as Dan and I talked, obviously the policy was needed. I anticipated this month would be a larger number because the kids weren't, they knew about it, but they haven't been held accountable yet. So I anticipate next month the number hopefully will drop. But
Especially coming up to the Valentine's Day.
yeah, I mean, there's a little extra push there. They're going to get in trouble for more than just us if they can't go to the Valentine's Day. Any questions?
Questions for Jay? Thanks, Jay.
Thank you.
As most of you may recognize, Principal Charette is out sick today, so she was unable to make it to our meeting. She was not in today, so
Don't worry, I have her report.
Keita has, he's going to put on 2 hats today. We're going to make him put on 2 different name tags, but he said no.
Yeah, well, that's all right. So I will take care of the principal's report first. If there's any questions, I'll take those, and then I'll jump right into the assistant principal discipline report, if that's okay with the chair.
That's good.
Okay. So in the interest of time, I just have some highlights. You guys have it already in hand, so I'll just hit some of the highlight reel here. On December 18th, our manufacturing events continued on campus with Eptom and C-Light and Avlight. All of them came and spoke with our senior class. Senegui Brahim, president of New Hampshire Manufacturing Extension Partnership, also attended and spoke to the students about internships and future careers in the field, which went over very well. On Saturday the 4th of this past month, the robotics team attended the 2020 kickoff at SNU. And this year's theme, for all those who are wondering, is Star Wars, based on the Infinite Recharge. So our robotics team is super excited about that. Use suicide prevention training has been completed for all freshmen and sophomores at this time, which is a good thing. Work continues on our Gear Up grant, and the committee has planned upcoming field trips for students to NHTI, New England College, and SNU. On the 9th and 10th of this past month, I should say, Jewel Finley, Carissa Caro, Molly Horn, Kristen Lombard, Susan Hallett Cook, and Carrie Charette attended the kickoff for the Portrait of a Graduate grant down in Boston, which went very well. On the 15th, and I do need to give kudos to Ariel Braggins, who put together our band and chorus concert, the winter concert in the cafeteria, and went over very, very well. Also, kudos to Richard Mazer and Elizabeth Gilliott, and because they were honored as the Granite Staters of the Month in May of 2019. Those two students with their families were invited to attend a recognition dinner at the Puritan Back Room. Maggie Hassan was there, which was quite an honor. Actually, wait a minute, that was when they were recognized, I think.
Just this last week?
Yeah, just this weekend, yeah. Principal Charette also went to that. We are working on a new schedule for next year, featuring 45-minute blocks, which we believe will be more advantageous to the continuum of education for our students. And so we're continuing to work on that with our leadership team. Also, our midterm exams start next week, ending the end of the first semester of the school year. Half the year is over. Our current enrollment number as of the 14th was 265, and just two other quick recognitions. Chloe Bouchaw was selected to be the student facilitator for this year's Leaders in Prevention program. She'll be assisting in running 2 different weekend trainings for New Hampshire youth. And the administration staff would like to congratulate Mary Grace Bunker. She has been recognized as a recipient of the 2020 Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen Award. Her formal recognition with a luncheon will take place on March 6th at the New Hampshire State House, which is quite nice. Okay. Are there any
So there's the principal's report.
Principal's
Everybody's
report.
good with that?
If it's okay with the chairman, I will jump right into the moment we've all been waiting for, the numbers. Top 3 violations at the high school these days: cutting classes, cutting teacher detentions, and out of area. All kind of relate. Referrals this round resulting in OSS was lower at 5, and those resulting in ISS was 17. Just like my colleague Jay over at the middle school, we're also focusing on the in-school suspensions versus the out-of-school, so that kids have the support to get work done at school versus sending them home for time to chill out at home. Referrals resulting in administrative detention 38, cumulative OSS days out 7, ISS days out 28. I will say in conclusion that luckily we have seen a drop in some of the defiant behaviors with the bathrooms, which has been great, and things have been a little bit calmer since the Christmas break. So, I'm done.
Thank you, Peter.
If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Just a quick note, we spoke to the superintendent of the Laconia. They have the vaping detectors in their bathrooms or something, and just so you're all aware, we have spoken to him. They're $1,000 a piece. So we're not sure whether the state is still giving money out. Because there was some 50%, we can get 50% reimbursement.
It's not from the state.
No, it's not from the
It
state?
was from the company itself that sold it.
Okay.
Products.
Yeah, so we looked at that, but we did reach out, it's $1,000.
Peter, you did meet with the vice principals, right? And they went over the vaping.
I was just gonna say, as a point of order, may I
What?
interrupt for a
What?
moment? Parliamentary procedure.
I'm using my time.
Yes, thank you, school board member, Burns, yes. Anyway, I don't know if the formal, whatever. Anyway, so, yes, I was just gonna make a point there. I did share my findings with, Barb Slayton, and she brought it up with her committee, the vape prevention, group that she leads. I did meet with a group of principals and assistant principals from around the state, admittedly the southern part of the state, at an monthly, principals meeting, and I brought up the vaping thing, and I purposely asked what is happening at other schools, what is the police involvement, what are the protocols, what is the, things like addiction, what are you guys doing with that? So I got a lot of good information. I shared that with Barb. The vape detectors have been actually met with the principals I've spoken to with unsuccess, I would say, in terms of their really success was not successful. A lot of false alarms, a lot of kids tampering with them. It was not as good as it was thought it was going to be. With that said, they're trying different methods, everything from doing what we're doing with patrolling the bathrooms and the areas around it to sign in, sign outs. They're having the same issues that we are, but the vape detectors are not as successful as they thought they would be.
And as a committee, we
And
felt
they're
that
expensive.
we had the best protocols for restorative justice. And we've done pretty much everything that we wanted.
Right, and there've been some questions about why don't we have it in our school? Why hasn't there been a detective? That's been the question that's been asked, so that's when I spoke to the superintendent over there, and he's like, yeah, we have them, and then sent Dan the information, and I said, well, I'll share with the board on what it's gonna cost, but, it's the same thing. I think Steve's not having that much success with it either.
That doesn't sound like it.
So, all right, thanks, Peter.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I have one of Dan that I forgot to ask.
Go ahead.
We had talked about the first view with the parent app for transportation. Did that ever get instituted for our, this was like that?
Ken's heading it.
I could help.
Thank you, Ken.
I have been in contact with the bus company, and they have installed the app. I have a couple of staff members who, until the snow day, were piloting it. So now they actually have the app on their phone, and so we have it starting out. So we're starting to pilot it until we get sort of the glitches worked out of the system.
Yep.
We're going to, and in the meantime, we hope to have something in the next month or so.
Is
So
there a
work on
way
it.
to get a few parents part of that pilot too,
Well,
since
that-
they?
The staff members that I have also are parents.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it was, I have a couple of staff members who are parents. One is a PSS parent, one's a middle school parent. So they were the first people that because we can literally look to see how it works.
Right.
So we're starting
Where
with
they
that,
are when
and
they
then
are.
what we'll do is we'll recruit some more parents to pilot it.
Yeah. Okay,
So-
thank you. Sorry.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, administrators, for your reports. That brings us to agenda item 13, which is our policy. We're gonna get this right through. This is for first reading only, okay? We had a policy meeting a week ago that I ran, and this is for the first reading only.
Through the whole meeting.
JFABD, Education of Homeless Children and Unoccupied Youth. JFABE, Education of Children in Foster Care. JLCFA, Feminine Hygiene Products. AC-E, Annual Notice of Contact Information for Human Rights Officers, Title IV Coordinator, 504 Coordinator, and Civil Rights Agencies. JLDBB, Suicide Prevention and Response. EEA, Student Transportation Services. EEAR, Student Transportation and Response. JFAA, Admission of Resident Students. JFA, Residency. JFAR, Technical Assistance Advisory, JFAB, admission of tuition and non-resident students, and any of these that were required or needed to be looked at by the superintendent's administration was done, and there was no reporting out on any of them, so this is the first reading that I made.
So moved.
Okay, so Scott made a motion to accept this first reading, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cecile. Any discussion?
I do have some comments or questions, but I can give them to Dan and
Okay.
for the next
For
meeting.
the next policy? All right. All right, any further discussion for first reading on these? Seeing no discussion, all in favor for first reading, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it, it's accepted for first reading, will be brought back in 30 days for second reading, so everybody's prepared for that. Our second reading and adoption is the next one. That is ADC/GBEB/JCICG, all three. Prohibition regarding use of possession of tobacco products, e-cigarettes, and e-liquids in and on school facilities and grounds. The next one is BEDG, minutes. Next one is EH, public access to school district records. EHR, administrative procedure for public access to district records, right to know request. EBCA, crisis prevention and emergency response plan. EBCB, fire and all hazard drills. IHCB/LEB, advanced coursework, advanced replacement courses in STEM, dual and concurrent enrollment program. IHBG, home education instruction. IHBG/R, participation in public school activities by home educated and non-public school pupils. Any of these that required administrative looking at or questions have been given out to the administration, and no questions were given back to us in our policy meeting. Everybody should have had 30 days to read these. This is a second reading and adoption. Do I have any questions, or do I have a motion to accept for second reading and adoption?
Move to accept.
Okay, so Scott's made the motion to accept for second reading and adoption. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Paul. Okay, do I have any discussion?
Not all the policies were in the packet, in this packet.
They're online.
I know they're online, but some of them aren't in here.
Okay.
Because I've printed out the packet, I have a printout.
The second read ones were in last month's packet, and they were just moved forward to this month.
But they're not in this packet.
So I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
I didn't print them out, there's a lot of people, we had them last month, so.
Okay.
For some reason.
There should be a separate file then uploaded for the ones that are previous, to make it easier, because going back through the last packet, you're scrolling down through all of those things where if they were separated, then we could have an easier access to them.
Any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, all in favor for second reading and adoption, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I abstain.
2
Because-
abstentions?
No, not
I'm
me.
not supposed to vote on this, correct?
No,
You can vote on it if you feel that you're,
Oh,
have
okay.
enough information to
Oh, yeah, because I was
approve
on,
it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I-
you've been at the policy meetings with
Right,
us.
okay, all right.
So if you feel comfortable enough to approve.
Yeah, I do.
You
Yeah,
do? Okay,
okay.
so one
All right.
abstention, Kathy.
I always feel comfortable.
Yeah, I know you do, Paul. All right, the next thing we have is that we have to remove a couple, second reading and removal, which is BEDG-R, which is access to minutes and public record, and also removal of EBCB-R, which is fire exit drills and educational occupancies. So I just need a motion to
So moved.
remove. Paul's made the motion to remove. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all in favor for a second reading and removal of these policies, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The ayes have it. Okay, late item, we got one late item. Through New Hampshire School Board Association, if you so desire to take some training courses, some training classes, most of us get notification of them. I asked the superintendent to reach out to the New Hampshire School Board Association. We pay a membership dues as it is, so if you want to attend classes down there, different training classes, it will not cost anything.
So
Yes, we pay for it already.
okay, so
I'm sure they'll be happy to have me.
where do
You're excluded from that.
Yeah, oh good, saved you 75.
Cecile, there is one, and I just want to make sure that you're good for it. They have one for new board members, an orientation for new board members.
Okay.
So, that one there is not coming in the cost, but we always budget it in our budget anyway,
It's
so.
like $45.
Not-
85.
It's not a big deal.
So we want to send you to that.
85.
I'll have Dan send you the date, but it's in April, I believe it is, March or April.
yeah.
Okay, it's
And
a
what
night
other
course.
courses, I mean, how would you find out the courses?
What, New Hampshire School Board Association usually sends an email out, so
Okay.
now that we have new board members, we just have to update our list to them.
Okay, so they would send it to me?
Yes.
Oh,
It's also on their website.
Yep.
yeah, okay.
It's right on the website, yeah, I tried to bring them with me, but I don't know what I was doing.
And then they usually have the full course outline and all the discussion on their
What
website.
is it? New Hampshire what?
NHSBA.
School board association.
Yeah.
You have any, so you start getting those.
All right, so that's the only late at my head.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
Considering late on, there's, the men, talk about when, you know, when the parents pull out the kids from the school. Does the superintendent or anybody or the principals do any exit type interview of why they're pulling out the kids?
Can't do it.
Why?
State law. All you gotta do is file a notice.
I'm not aware that they do any exit.
Yeah.
We don't.
You know, okay, I was just curious, that's all.
I have data, but I can't share it of why they leave it. Not just this school system, but other
Okay,
school systems.
so,
Okay, that's
do you
it.
have any other late items?
No.
You good?
No,
Okay,
I'm good.
so there's no other late items. I do have my second public participation. A couple of you are left. Warner?
Murder Horn, Ward 2. I was quietly fuming when I was listening to you talking about how the city council and the school board have interacted, because it's something that's been noticed by me as well, and that I expect everybody to act like an adult, and I can certainly start naming names about people who have missed that threshold significantly. And then I decided to take a different twist on it. I think you could probably raise a significant amount of money by selling out the job of mediator for that 18-member meeting. I'm pretty sure there are some people who would pay some money to be the mediator for that meeting. Okay? So, and you could even do a split with the city. You know, you guys keep half of the mediator fee.
Thank you, Warner. We'll consider that. April? I know you.
I am just happy to get the opportunity to work with you guys, and on the liaison committee, I'm excited to see who our members will be. Jeff, I look forward to working with you. I think that there's been an ongoing trust issue that we can address and we can get past. I think history has dictated this relationship for a very long time, and it's prime for some improval. So we'll work on that.
Anything else? We do have a need for a non-public tonight.
I make a motion to go into non-public under 91A, paragraph 2A, C, and B.